Hello everyone, Suhail this side. Welcome back to my channel. So this would be an announcement video what I will be covering in this whole year, right? And what are my plans to cover in 2025, right? So since last 1 month I have started the Kafka Zero to Hero series, where we have gone from from very basic, and now in I have uploaded almost 7 to 8 videos are already there. You can see the depth which I am covering in the Kafka Zero to Heroes. We started with the beginner friendly content, and then slowly we moved on, and we reached to a point where the experts are using the Kafka. So this is how all the series would be. So the all the series would be totally hands-on, totally practical. At the end of the Kafka series, we will be developing the complete Spring Boot project as well, which where we would be covering actual real scenario based problem. So this series is totally practical and hands-on. So my plan is to cover similar kind of series so that you get real exposure and how actually things are working in the industry, right? So once this Kafka is over, I'm trying to start the Redis, because Redis is being very heavily used in the industry for the caching, and almost each and every company in nowadays is using Redis. So my goal is to cover the Redis as well as much as I can, and in this series also we will start with the very basic, and then slowly we'll do the hands-on, and we'll do the real practical use cases, and we'll develop the complete project and at the end of the whole series. So my aim is to cover the technology in such a way so that you get practical exposure, not the theoretical exposure. So whenever you get some work in an organization, you will feel, okay, this is the concept and how it is being used. So that is the kind of confidence I'm trying to build in each and everyone, right? So you can see on this sheet which I have prepared what I am trying to cover in this 2025. So Kafka Zero to Hero series is already been started, and Redis I'll be covering next one, and then I'll be covering the gRPC. Most of the companies are switching from REST to gRPC nowadays because of the performance, because of the uh, the slowness due to the HTTP 1.1. And we will also learn the whole series. All the series is totally beginner friendly. Will reach to a level where the things are actually being applied in actual industry. So trust me, all the series is totally hands-on, and you will get so much fun to learn all this. So then I'll be covering gRPC. Once that gRPC is done, then I'll be covering security topics, because security is very important, and it is non-negotiable thing in any industry. So we will cover all the security related concepts and how the security related concepts are being used in the real projects. For example, hashing, encryption, decryption, the JOT token, and each and every concept we will not study in theoretical. Actually we will study in practical. In each concept I'll try to develop some small project kind of thing, so that you get a practical exposure and you get to learn how this is actually being used in the industry. So that is my goal. So once this is done, then I'll be covering Elasticsearch, GraphQL, MongoDB. Cassandra is very heavily being used in industry nowadays. SkylaDB is evolving, right? Spark is being used by the data analytics team or data analysts. So I'll be covering each and everything, multi-threading, and especially the guys who are preparing for interviews. So trust me, you will get almost, means once you are comfortable with all these topics, you will crack interview in just a few seconds. So that would be a very kind of, means it this all the content is very helpful for interviewers as well as, and the guys who are trying to indulge into the industry, who are beginners or who are looking for job opportunities, who are freshers, just the college pass outs. This content is not just for experts or who has already got some exposure. So this is not like that. I am just starting from the beginner, and we'll go to the level where you will become pro in each and every technology. So my aim is to cover the LLD, HLD. Then based on the recent comments I have received on my YouTube videos, so some people have really requested me on LinkedIn as well as on my YouTube that please cover the Kafka Stream, Kafka Connect. So I am considering those as well. So I'll be covering Kafka Stream, Kafka Connect, and we will see the database performance also when there are billions of records in the in the database for the high scale applications, right? So we'll study all and each things very in detail and very practical and very hands on, so that you get real exposure. So all this, although I have not written the content in each and every section because I don't know what, these are just my plans to cover each and everything in 2025, but I need to still prioritize few of the things which I'll be covering in order. For example, I have already covered three things. The Kafka series is going on, then I'll be starting the Redis, then I'll be starting the gRPC. But the rest of the things, security is also on my top of the priority, because this is one thing where people actually lack once they are one or in the interviews. So if you ask anyone any security related concepts, for example, how you can avoid cross scripting attacks, how you can avoid SQL injections, so the candidates fumble in that case. So I want to build that confidence in each and every one of you, right? So the security is also on top of my priority, because I want to cover security, and then especially for interviews or the HLD, LLD topics are must to learn, and I'll be starting these topics in parallel also along with the Zero to Hero series, and these topics will come in parallel to the technology. For example, currently the Kafka series is going on. I'm planning to cover the LLD one topic or HLD one topic in the coming week, so that you get a real exposure how actually things work. For example, if you see, the rate limiter video is already being covered on my YouTube channel, and also you can see the e-commerce application, because I have seen most of the candidates fumble in the interviews when we ask, okay, how you would maintain the inventory consistent in e-commerce application, the inventory plus plus or count plus plus, count minus minus. It seems okay, it seems very easy, but behind the scenes it is not that much simple. There are so many complexities, right? Not one user is trying to book the order at the same time. There could be millions of users, for example the flash sale or any kind of high scale application, right? So the although on upfront things might look simple, that okay, this is just one thing, but once you get into the nitty gritty details of the things, you will feel okay, oh, I need to handle this problem, oh, here the security issue has come, oh, here the application is not scalable. So you need to think in that direction, how you build scalable fault tolerant applications with all the technologies, and which technology you would choose based on the use case. It is not like I'm covering all this technology and this technology will fit in each and every use case. No, it is not like that. Based on use case, based on patterns, you need to decide which technology is beneficial or which technology can be used in this use case. Now moving forward, so once the four topics are on top of my priority, and then I have seen many of the candidates fumble in the multi-threading and the garbage collection algorithms, the JDBC. So debugging purpose also, they are not don't have much exposure to debugging, how you actually debug the Java application, or how you actually debug the errors once the application is deployed in the production. So it is very difficult to debug, means there should be some way how we can debug the application, right? There should be some mechanism, there should be some techniques, there should be some automation scripts, how easily we can debug the application, how we can improve the error conditions, right? So I'll be covering each and every topic. For example, if you see the multi-threading, will be covering completely based on Java 21, like completable future, virtual threads. I'll be discussing all these things in very detail and in very practical, right? Then in the LLD, I'll also start, although I know there are so many YouTubers who has already published all these concepts, but trust me, this series would be different one. What I am trying to cover, this is totally practical, and we will be building complete project at the end of each and every series. So the LLD, I'll be covering all the design patterns. I just want to build the thought process, how you actually thought if any problem is thrown on you. So how you actually thought, how is your thought process, okay, which design pattern you can use. Although these systems are available, okay, so this is the kind of system everyone knows, okay, this is the design pattern we can use. For example, the ATM is there, the chain of responsibility you can apply there, so everyone knows this. But actually, some, let's assume some random problem if I thrown at you, right, you might start crumble, you might start fumble, okay, that how I can solve this problem. So I just want to build that kind of confidence, that which design pattern or which technology or how you can approach the problem. My aim is that, right? And then at the end we will be covering the HLD topics, and trust me, these HLD topics are not just in theoretical, we will be covering practical. For example, you see the locks and the pattern, the content I have listed down here, but this is not the end of the world. This content, this is what I just thought, okay, these are the very very basic things that I need to cover completely in this HLD. But there are few more things which I might come up, right? This is not an exhaustive list which I have already prepared. There might be few things which I have missed, right? So based on your feedback, based on your comments, based on your priorities, I can come up with the new topics as well. It is not that if I have prepared this roadmap that this is the only I'll be covering. No, you guys has to put the comments, you guys has to decide which topic has to be covered first, so that the interview or any kind of technology, the evolving technology, you get used to it, right? For example, the AI is currently in boom, so I'll be covering AI also in the coming weeks, that how actually the AI is being used in the industry. So we will develop the complete end-to-end project based on AI, so that you get a real exposure how actually the things gets worked in the industry, right? Then the HLD concepts, these are very very basic concepts which everyone should know. For example, the cap theorem, how to do capacity estimation, or how, or what are the JOT, what are the kind of different authentication mechanisms, JOT, OAuth, SAML, LDAP, what is map reduce, what is stream processing, why, in which cases we need to use Kafka, in which cases we need to use RabbitMQ, right? So how we can decide whether we can go for monolith architecture or we can go with the microservice architecture. These are very very, you know, must to know concepts which everyone should know. What would happen if the other service is down, whether I use the bulk ahead pattern or I proceed with the circuit breaker, what is data lake. So all these concepts are, you need to learn, because today, you know, if you have to compete among yourself, or if you have to compete in the market, you have to be on top of it, right? So these are the very generic technologies in the HLD concepts which I have tried to mention here, but based on your feedbacks, based on your comments, I'll be covering much more. So this is not an exhaustive list, and that was all I was trying to cover. That was just the roadmap which I want to show you all, that these are my plans for 2025. And trust me, all this series would be practical and totally hands-on. And then please subscribe, like, watch the other videos, the kind of other videos. The Kafka series already been started, already we are into the 8th episode of it, right? And totally hands-on. Then the HLD topics, I have already covered 2 systems. For example, the rate limiter, I have covered each and every algorithm implementation in actually in code, in detail, right? And in e-commerce application, I have covered the same kind of interview problem which you might have got in any of the interviews. For example, how you maintain the inventory consistent across e-commerce application, right? So I have covered much more fascinating content in my YouTube channel, but now onwards I'll be covering much more in all this content which I have already shared. So please do like, comment, subscribe, watch my other videos which I have already published. So see you in next video. Thanks a lot.